What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a banger of a video. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and also head over to the merch shop today and take advantage of our exclusive 48-hour sale. Using code GOBLIN, you can get 20% off any order only for the next 48 hours from right now. Head over to goblin420.com and make sure to check out that deal. And also, before we dive into the video, let's take a moment for our sponsor. 162 games of baseball can feel like a grind to watch, but you can put the excitement back into each and every game all season long with MyBookie. Run lines, money lines, and props galore. Nobody gives you more opportunity than MyBookie. Just head over to MyBookie and use code GOBLIN at sign up and claim your first deposit bonus. You remember that you can only get that bonus by signing up and using code GOBLIN. Good luck to you all, and bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Big shout out to them. Now let's dive into the video. Now, this quite literally just happened a few days ago at the time of this recording. As some of you may know, I just recently took a trip out to LA, and this happened on my very first day in LA. But, before we talk about my night in LA, let's go back a little bit and talk about my day leading up to my flight. So, I'd woken up pretty early in the day, and I was kind of in a rush to pack my clothes, and, I was only planning to be in LA for a couple days. I flew in this past Tuesday, and I was supposed to leave on Thursday. So that Tuesday came around and I'd woken up and I drove to the airport as fast as I could. I got there with a fair bit of time to blow. I'd say I had about an hour and a half before my flight boarded, so enough time for me to chill out. Now, for those of you guys who know me well enough, you might know that I am very scared of flying. It makes me super anxious. I don't know what it is. Because the thing with me is I don't necessarily have a fear of heights. However, I definitely have a fear of being in the air without being, connected to something, So, climbing a ladder, kind of spooky, I'm only hanging on. There's nothing, that I'm standing on. But I could stand on the tallest building in the world as long as I'm standing on top of something. My feet are on ground, right? It's kind of a weird fear, but nevertheless, I get very scared of flying. So my plan before every flight I take ever is to just get belligerently intoxicated on pretty much whatever substance I could. Now, normally my strategy for this would be Xanax. However, I stopped doing that. So we had to move our way to the bar. Now, I don't know whether this is a good thing or not, but most of the bartenders at the airport that I go to recognize me. They remember me. They don't know me because of my YouTube. They know me because I go there and I drink so much. So I don't really know whether to be proud of that or if that's a sign that I have an issue. But nevertheless, I go to the bar at my terminal and lo and behold, the bartender remembers me. I sat down and I ordered my classic order, which is a double shot of Jägermeister and a sugar-free Red Bull. As soon as I placed my order, she says to me, she's like, I knew I remembered you. I mean, obviously, I'm probably one of the only people who goes to the bar and orders Jägermeister, and that's okay with me. They always have it. More for me. I'll take it. So I order my double shot of Jaeger, and I'm downing them, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting pretty fucked up pretty quickly. I don't know what it was about this day. Maybe it was that I woke up a little late and didn't really get a chance to smoke very much, but I was really anxious about this flight. For some reason, I felt really nervous. I kept looking up the kind of plane I was on and doing all this research on the safety record of American Airlines. I was super anxious about this flight for some reason. So I was just downing these drinks. I mean, ridiculous pacing. I couldn't really tell you how many shots I took, but every shot I ordered was a double shot, and I would say I ordered probably at least 8 of them, 7 or 8 of them. Now, mind you, a double shot at the bar is not really a true double shot. They kind of skimp on that. But nevertheless, I drank a pretty large amount of Jaeger. I left this bar and I was feeling slightly buzzed, but, all the drinks hadn't hit me yet because, like I said, I drank quick. I mean, I was in and out of this bar within 30 minutes because I wanted to go to the bathroom, and then after that, I wanted to go to the store and get some water and stuff for my flight, I like to be prepared. So 30 minutes after getting to the bar, I dip out after going on a shot rampage. See, the bartenders at this bar, they like me because I tip them well. They have good service, they bring me drinks quickly, therefore I tip well. So that always results in me getting fucked up as quickly as I want to because they will always get me a drink. They're awesome. So I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I'm sitting in the bathroom, and I remember I'm just sitting in the stall and I'm hitting my vape. And I don't know what happened, but all the liquor hit me in the face at the same time. I was getting the spins. I was nauseous. I was almost too drunk, to the point where I was feeling uncomfortable. Now, luckily, whenever I get to that level of drunk, normally I just end up knocking out. I'm able to fall asleep pretty easily. However, I couldn't do that quite yet because I still had to get on my flight. So I had to fight the urge to go sit down and knock the fuck out. I get out of this stall and I sit in there for a minute, and I go over to the store at my gate, or near my gate, pardon me, and I grab myself a nice bottle of water. I sit down at the gate, and I swear to God, I am trying so hard to keep my shit together. I am so fucking wasted at this point. I mean, I am literally clenching the armrests of the chair I'm sitting in with all of my might, trying to make myself feel more stable because it just felt like I was spinning and it would never end. It felt like shit. Now, luckily, my flight started boarding, and here's a little trick for you guys. They normally don't actually check what boarding group you're in. So, whenever they're done calling the priority groups, I always go immediately. With American Airlines, the first 4 groups are priority, but after that, there's like 5 more groups that aren't priority. I usually am in one of the last groups, but I always go in group 4 or 5 because they just don't give a shit. So there's a little tip for you. I got on this plane as quickly as I could. I finessed my way through the boarding groups. Fuck that shit. And I got on the flight, and I kid you not, I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't even think we had taken off by the time I'd fallen asleep. I mean, I got in my seat and I was out cold, dude. I was absolutely out. I remember pretty much nothing of this flight. Now, what I do remember is waking up literally as we were landing in LA. I mean, I woke up, I looked out the window, and we were just over Los Angeles. So I was like, fuck yeah, awesome. However, now, despite being less drunk, I felt like shit. Whenever you go to sleep right after getting really drunk and you wake up and, you're not necessarily fully hungover because you only slept for a little while, but you still feel like garbage. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't have a full-on hangover, but I was nauseous, my head hurt, and I needed to do something about it. The problem with that is that I was staying an hour away from LAX. Now, LAX is in more of the kind of central part of LA, and I was staying up in Burbank. So I was pretty far away from LAX, like an hour drive at the time, right? So I get off my plane and I feel like garbage, and I take the shuttle at LAX because you can't just walk outside and call an Uber. No. It's not like other airports. They have to make it difficult. You have to take a shuttle, which then takes you to a boarding area with like 10 different little sub areas where you then call an Uber to your specific sub area and then you can leave. It kind of sucks, and it adds an extra like 15-20 minutes to the process. But either way, I call my Uber, hop in, and skedaddle. Now, the whole time in the Uber, I'm trying to fall asleep to get through it, but I genuinely can't because of how nauseous I am. At one point in the Uber, I threw up in my mouth and had to swallow it because I couldn't puke in this guy's car. I felt terrible doing that. I've never thrown up in an Uber, and I am proud of my passenger rating of 4.94 stars, which, by the way, fuck you, whoever didn't give me a 5, all right? I would have a perfect rating if it weren't for that guy, but I am very proud of that rating, and I am not going to puke in his car. But at one point, it got so bad that I genuinely was going to ask him to stop on the side of the highway so I could open the door and puke. I mean, it was really bad. But I held it in. I fought my inner demons and made it to this hotel. I got out and I go up to my room and instantly just vomit. Now, at this time, I still wasn't really aware that I had any plans for the night, but my buddy Eric texted me. Some of you may know him on YouTube as Eric Khan. Eric texted me and he was like, yo, I'm going to some High Times event tonight. You should pull up. You should come with. I was like, dude, hell yeah, this sounds fire. It's some really bougie looking invite-only event, so I get an email with all of the details of this event. It tells me that I need cocktail attire, and it says all of this random stuff that's very formal, right? The gist of it is this was not a casual event, despite being a weed event. But I had never been to a High Times event before. In fact, prior to this, I think I've only been to like 1 or 2 weed events ever. So I was pretty hype. I was like, yo, let's get it. I threw up at the hotel, I showered, I cleaned myself up, brushed my teeth, drank a bunch of water, kind of sobered up a little bit, but I didn't have too much time to sober up, and Ubered over to Eric's house, still half drunk. Now, when I got there, we took a couple dabs, which immediately made me feel much, much better. I think the problem was I just needed to get stoned, and I didn't really have any weed that I brought, because I'm going to Cali. Why would I bring my weed, you know? I'm getting more there. So, either way, I went over to Eric's house and we took some dabs, and after that, we decided to go to the store. Now, we needed to get ourselves some nice cocktail attire for this event. Mind you, we were already late. This event started at like 7 or 7:30. It was like 8:30 by the time we even got to the store. So we're looking around in the store, and I got like a button-down shirt, I've got a belt, I'm looking for some formal pants and maybe some shoes, and Eric comes over to me laughing, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And he shows me on his phone, on an Instagram story, there's some dude at the event just in a t-shirt and sandals and shorts, like not giving a fuck in the world. Once I saw that, I immediately figured that I was really worrying too much. Obviously, they weren't enforcing the cocktail attire. Now, I dropped my clothes immediately that I was going to buy, my formal clothes, and just left. We drove straight to the event. Now, once we got there, let me describe a little bit about what I was wearing. Eric had a nice enough fit on, right? You know, black shirt, black shoes, formal shoes, you know. He had some formal clothes on, but I didn't pack any nice clothes. So I am wearing a Hawaiian shirt, I am wearing a pair of running shoes, and a pair of, like, cargo shorts, right? I look like I just retired. I get into this event, and there's, like, a girl at the door with a book that's full of people's names. She asked for our names, and that's when I realized, I'm like, yo, this is a fucking legit-ass event, dude. Like, this is kind of crazy, you know? Like, I mean, normally you just walk up, you know, they put a wristband on you and you go in that bitch. Here, no, they're crossing names off a list. I'm like, oh, shit, you know? So we give our names. They, you know, let us into the event. And I realize pretty much immediately as I walk in that I am one of the maybe 3 people at this event that is not in a full-on tuxedo. Like, I'm not talking people are just wearing button-downs tucked in with a nice belt. Like, dude, ties, suit jackets, like these dudes are in full-on formal attire. It looks like the fucking Met Gala, dude. So it looks like I just walked into the Oscars. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, son of a bitch, dude. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm getting looks from all over the room from the people in suits that I could tell they're just judging me, right? Now, this event, I should have known that it was probably going to be a bit more formal, because this event was the top 100 most influential people in cannabis by High Times. Obviously, I was not one of those 100 people, or else I probably would have been briefed on this event a little bit sooner. I was definitely not on the list, but nevertheless, I got into the event. So, you know, I'm walking around, Eric and I are walking around a little bit, and there's all these little cocktail girls walking around with different, you know, bite-sized, like, little appetizers that you can have, you know, and there's tons of food everywhere. There's a giant open bar. Mind you, I still at this point have not seen anyone that wasn't in a tuxedo. And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, well, where's the weed? You know, like, let's just go grab some weed and get stoned. Now, normally weed events I've been to, they'll have at least one vendor where you can go grab some weed, you know? I mean, normally brands, cultivators, whether it's a legal event or like especially the black market events, actually, they will always have some weed you can get. I figured this was High Times, so it must be the same. High Times, they all get stoned, you know? What I learned on this fine day really broke my heart and opened my eyes to things in the weed industry. Namely, that a lot of these companies in the weed industry are ran by dudes in suits who don't even smoke weed. Because as I'm walking through the event, I realized really quickly, nobody else is even smoking. I saw like one dude with a Puffco, and he was like the only other guy who was underdressed like me, right? There was one girl who Eric knew who came up to us, and I took a dab with her. But all of literally, I shit you not, maybe 4 people, including myself and Eric, out of the like maybe 200 people at this event were smoking. There was nowhere to get any weed, right? You like normally you'd have a booth with someone there, they'd have a menu, or I've been to events where they had a dab bar, right? You could just go up and just rip a dab for free, like a sample. They'd give you a dab, right? None of that. However, what they did have was 3 open bars for you to get as drunk as you want, but absolutely no shot are you getting stoned at the High Times event. Now, if that isn't skewed to you, I don't know what to tell you, because that was real messed up in my eyes. I was kind of shocked. I was like, dude, is this serious, So Eric and I, we decide pretty quickly, like, yo, let's bounce. This shit kind of sucks. This is not at all what we were picturing, We were initially really excited, like, dude, this is a private High Times event. They're going to be getting hella stoned, After doing more research, I learned that High Times a few years ago got bought out by some investment firm ran by a bunch of real estate dudes. So that probably explains it. But either way, I call my other buddy, who we're going to call, we don't really need to give him a fake name. The guy didn't commit any fucking crime. So I call my friend Attila, right? And Attila comes through and he picks us up from the event. Now, while we're waiting for him to pick us up from this event, we decide to go capitalize on all the free food in the place. We grab ourselves some plates and we find an empty table. They didn't really have they had very tall stools, but they were more so like standing tables. Very bougie, right? But either way, we're standing at this table and all of these different waiters and waitresses are just coming around and offering us stuff. So we are just collecting. I'm not gonna lie, I had one of the best cupcakes I've ever had at this event, and that's probably the only positive thing I have to say about this event. Unfortunately, due to this video, I don't think I will be invited back to any further High Times events, but I think that's okay with me. Either way, back on topic. So, eventually, my buddy Attila comes through and picks us up, and we head on out of there and go and grab ourselves some sushi for the night. Have a nice little ending to the night. We get more stoned, grab some sushi, went back to Eric's and got blasted out of our minds, taking some fat dabs of rosin. What started off as a kind of questionable day ended as a pretty fun night. And you guys can definitely expect some more stories from this LA trip coming soon, because this was a pretty fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, gamers.